Now, signs to me are the universe's way of speaking to us. And so when we see signs, it's almost like, I see it as a couple of different things. Sometimes it's your soul leaving you like a little message in a bottle. So it's like your soul's giving you a little nudge, a little energy here. And I remember one time being after a very profound, very deeply kind of spiritual experience. I was in a really deep ceremony, being in the street, and I'll never forget it. It's one of those things that imprints in your mind. And at that exact moment, a bus went across the street in front of me and a person walked along the road next to me. And I remember in that moment really understanding that all of us are linked and that all of us have a path to take, and that much of it is kind of pre-agreed, and that bus was meant to go across in that exact time I was meant to see it, and that person was meant to walk along the street at that exact time that I was meant to be there, and how the whole world is kind of weaving itself in there. And if I hadn't been there, that bus might not have been there. And it was a really kind of mind-blowing experience. And so sometimes our souls leave us these little, like say a little message in a bottle of like, you're going to get that. That's what I believe deja vu is. Deja vu is a moment where we can't grasp deja vu. It's like your soul gives you a little drop in if you're going to have this moment of remembrance, this moment of something coming in that's gone again in a flash, but you're left with that feeling of deja vu where you're like, something just came in, something just happened. And then it's the universe giving you a little nudge of either this way, this is what to do. So when we see signs can come in many, many different forms. And just like many of us will resonate with different people that we meet, and some of us will love maths, and some of us will love English, and some of us will love this and that, the universe wants to talk to you in your own unique flavor. So the universe or your soul, your higher self, will start to find ways that really deeply resonate with you. So for some of you, that might be seeing repetitive numbers. I used to see a lot of number plate messages. So a lot of number plates that would spell out a message, or you'd see the number plate and the words would come to you of what that number plate stood for. Some of you might see animals. We'll talk about animals in a moment because I've got a question about that. Some of you might be animals. You'll all probably be aware of my power of three. So I have a thing about the power of three. I'll hear something and it might just seem really nondescript, but something in me will like stir. And there'll be a knowing, and then I'll hear the same thing a second time from somewhere completely different. And it might be a book that gets mentioned to me. It might be a podcast that gets mentioned to me. It might be the name of a place that gets mentioned to me. And then on the lookout, once I've heard it second time within the space of like, we're not talking years here, but we're talking within the space of like a couple of days, I'll know then, and I'll be like, okay, universe, time number 3, I'm going to act on it. So me and the universe now have a deal that on the 3rd time I act on it. So the universe now knows that a way to get my attention is to put it in front of me 3 times. And then my part to play is, it might seem really weird, but I'm going to go and visit the place. I'm going to buy the book and I'm going to read it, even if I don't get why I'm reading it. I'm going to look out for the person. I'm going to make the contact. I'm going to make the phone call. That's my part to play. So the universe will start to talk to you in your own very, very unique way. One of the key things about signs in particular in the beginning is to just first of all show you're paying attention. So until you learn the language of the universe, it might seem a little bit like you're talking different languages and it's not quite resonating. And it's like, I'm learning Spanish again at the moment, and I'm really lucky because my best friend's fluent. Well, a couple of my best friends are fluent. So I'm really trying. And so I'll be really proud of myself. I'll have learned a phrase and I'll get on the phone and I'll say it and they'll speak back to me in fluent Spanish. And I'm like, damn you. Like, and I don't quite know what they're saying, but now I'm picking up certain words. So now I can get certain words in the sentence. I can get certain words in the conversation. Same with the universe. As I start to then learn more Spanish, I'm going to understand more and more of what they're saying. So the first thing to do is to just notice. Okay, I've just seen a number plate. Okay, I've just seen a 111. And then start to find that connection. And again, it's very important to say here that you're going to find your own words and your own energy for what you're connecting to. It might be that you choose to work with the universe or source or higher self or soul or God or Shakti or the divine. There's many different names for much of the muchness of the same thing. There are slight differences. And again, this is maybe something we can talk about either later in this or further down the line. But you choose for now just a word that feels right for you of the energy you're working with. Okay, universe, I'm listening. Okay, universe, I'm listening. And then a little pause to be like, what was I thinking about in the moment I saw the sign? Well, I was just thinking about how maybe I should make the phone call about the move that I want to make. Okay, I'm listening, I'm going to act on it. Were you worrying about something in your mind? Were you not paying attention and you zoned out and you were 10 years ago replaying a conversation? Start to notice when the universe gets your attention, what it is that you're doing, and then start to feel into in yourself. If I was going to believe this was a sign from the universe, what would I consider that sign to be? Is it just a little nod? You're doing the right thing. Keep going. You're on your way. Don't give up hope. Keep the faith. This is the way. What would it be I'd take from that? So in the beginning, just see it as a little praise from the universe. So the universe is just being like, yeah, okay. But just starting to then ask for help. And there's almost an unwritten law of the universe that says that our guides and angels particularly, but the universe can't help unless we ask, because we as humans have free will. So we have absolute free will. So unless it's a life-threatening situation and you're about to go before your time, your angels and guides cannot step in. And they'll sit there. I mean, any of you've got kids, you've probably seen your kids at some point, right? And you feel like they're messing up their lives and you're like, oh my God, what are they doing? Why are they dating that person? Why are they choosing to do that? Why? And there's, to be a good parent, you just got to sit back and kind of watch and be like, I'm going to be here for you when you need me. The universe is a bit the same. So the universe, our guides, our angels, they all sit there going like, what's she doing? What's she doing? But until we ask for help, they can't step in, because otherwise we don't then have free will over our own lives. And then it would just be our guides running our lives, our angels running our lives. And then we wouldn't be a soul having a human experience we came here to have. So begin to ask for help. Ask, what does that sign mean? One of the prayers I will come back to very often, if ever I'm in a time of not really understanding or not really knowing, a prayer I come back to often is, please help me to see what I need to hear what I need to hear, and know what I need to know. And I'll say that prayer just over and over again in the morning. I'll get up, I'll light my candles, and I just say, please, please, please help me to see what I need to see, hear what I need to hear, and know what I need to know. And then we're inviting the universe in to come in and help us to hear and see. I can't get the words out, hear and see and know, because again, as humans, and there's so many threads we could go off on here, but we have a consciousness bias, and we have ways that we'll look for evidence that life is this or life is that. We're very blinkered in what we actually experience and take in. When we ask the universe to step in, we start to be able to see things in a different way and hear things in a different way. And most of all, connect that deep inner knowing. So with the signs, just start to notice. As we're talking about animal signs, someone did ask me about a robin. Robins are often seen as a loved one who's passed over, who's coming back to let their presence be known, to guide you, to say hello. So if you're seeing a lot of robins, you might initially, like we used to have, my granddad would be in the front garden and he'd come and visit all the time, and we'd be like, there he is, the grandpa's there, you know. But animal messengers are there a lot. I used to get a blackbird messenger, and actually, I don't know if you're on my side, I have blackbird feathers tattooed. I actually got them tattooed on my neck, because whenever I would have a big decision to make and I would be in more turmoil and I wouldn't know, and the fear would be taking over from knowing what I needed to do, I'd always see a blackbird. And that blackbird would be my sign, my guide of like, you've got to face the fear and do it anyway. The only way is through. And so that was my sign that I had to follow what it is I was in turmoil about. So if you see animal visitors showing up, sometimes it's worth a quick Google, like around even medicine animals, and starting to see what an animal showing up for you might be. Like you might see a deer at a certain time, or foxes, or other animals coming into kind of your life and your awareness. Have a little search about spirit animals and what spirit animals might mean and what energy they might be trying to bring to you. But robins do tend to be a loved one, just giving a little nod, wanting you to pay attention, looking down over you, you know, taking care of you. So I hope that helps when it comes to signs.